I recently spoke with someone who's about a year from retirement and they had a big problem that wasn't getting addressed. So I wanted to share it with you in case you find yourself in the same situation as them. So we had a free retirement planning session with a great couple recently, and they said, we've had an advisor for years and they do a great job and we really like them, but we think we're maybe a year or two from retirement. So I started doing some research on retirement planning, which led us to your YouTube videos. And after watching a few, we said, why isn't our guy bringing this stuff up? And I shouldn't be discovering this on my own. And that's what led them to call us and have that free planning sessions. So I agree with everything that they said, but how can you really know if you're an advisor or someone who's going to do a quick checkup for you is bringing up all the important things that can really improve your retirement? So I wanted to share 2 things to use as kind of a filter when you're talking to an advisor. You know, whether you're interviewing someone to be an advisor on an ongoing basis or just getting a checkup and a one-time check-in just to make sure that you're on track. You can filter them by looking at it through this lens. So number 1 is getting clear on what you need. So if you're close to retirement and you realize that it's not just about maximizing returns anymore or building up the nest egg anymore to get as big as you can, but really it's more about how to create tax efficient withdrawal plans and then how to take the least amount of risk possible when it comes to investments, but have the highest chance of success. If you're kind of seeing the difference between the last 30 and the next 20 or 30, then you want to make sure you're talking to a specialist versus a generalist. Specialists typically work with one type of client versus anyone and everyone. And the problem for you is that specialists may cost more. And it's kind of like, the way I think about it is if you absolutely needed a very, very important surgery, and again, I'm not comparing financial to health, they're completely different things, but if you had a surgery and you needed to solve a problem that you had in your body, and you found a general surgeon who was 5 minutes from your home, who's done the surgery you need one other time, and then you found a specialist surgeon who only does this one type of surgery, and he's done over 2,000 of them, but he's located on the other side of the country. My guess is that you wouldn't have a problem, you know, if you lived in Florida, packing up and going to, where's Minnesota? Right here, going to Mayo for that surgery, even though it's inconvenient and even though it's gonna cost more than just staying in your hometown and driving 5 minutes. And the reason why is because the chance of success in the surgery is so much higher from the person who's done it over and over again. And so the value is so much higher too. So that's why knowing what you need and then finding that specialist can be really important. The second important thing to find out is how many clients do they help? We've seen a lot of people come over from some of the big firms that you see on TV because they realized after 6 months or a year that their advisor wasn't being proactive. Don't get me wrong, because these massive firms, they're really needed. They're needed for the majority of people in this country, because most people don't have or don't need custom planning to really optimize their retirement. But for those people who aren't too worried about running out of money, but they know that there's things that they can do to optimize their plan and reduce the amount of tax that they pay and things like that, that's where specialty firms are needed. And when you're thinking about big firms, it's really hard to be proactive when you have more than 100 clients or something like that. It's hard to think about them all and plan for them. We just know that through how many relationships we can have in our life. Really, the way that I think about it too is with some of these firms, it's more like an inch deep and a mile wide, right? Versus a specialist going deeper with fewer clients. And really the thing, everyone wants something different maybe, but going deeper with fewer people, that allows your advisor to be thinking, you know, if they're having lunch and they're looking at wealth transfer strategies or reading about them, it's more likely that you'll pop into their head if they have fewer people to think about because it's so custom. It's really, for us at least, it's more about relationships than revenue, because when you work with a select few people, it really allows us to go to the funeral of a client who passed away, or to go visit a client who was recently admitted in a long-term care facility. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. Just to recap, if you're doing research and getting knowledge about retirement and looking at your retirement more closely, and if you're gonna think about talking to an advisor, find out if they specialize in retirement planning, and then make sure they've been doing it for a long time, 10 years at least. It doesn't have to be, but it's always nicer, you know, that they've had experience. And then also, how many clients have they helped do what you're looking to do? So hope that was helpful, and have a great rest of your day. Take care.